Okay, so this is all real light now. I broke my routine. It's almost 7, and so it's weird how. But see, if you get too attached to a routine, because it is like it's kind of like they develop naturally, but then if you get too attached to it, then it becomes about the routine, and then you're no longer in the flow. So it's important to stay in the flow even when you develop routines, in my opinion, and. And I wasn't trying to break it this morning. I had just been noticing like routines and patterns and then watching how they would just, I'd find myself doing the same thing at the same time in the day. It's like, wow, that just is like happening all on its own. And then with Stella, but she's having a hard time right now. She really wants to lick her vajay. And the sores are still there, which I just keep on thinking, and it is got a little stink. It's got a stank to it. It's still, to me, it looks like herpes or something. But it's like, it seems like that would be going away by now. So then I'm thinking, okay, so, women can get those out of balance, like stanky problems there. So that's not like, that doesn't mean like, oh my God, you're going to die. Like, with vaginosis, like you can go around, and have this bad yeast infection, like a lot of these things, that have a smell to them. And so I tried putting some castor oil down in the area because that is good for hormones and stuff too. But I keep thinking it has got to be something with whatever that thing was on her leg. It probably busted out a lot of rotten, gross-ass parasites into her system. And they're all looking for homes. And so some have settled back there, causing inflammation. And I'm sure there's tingling and inflammation and stuff. And plus, dogs want to clean up a stink. So I was thinking I was this morning because I have to keep stopping her because she'll lick her where it's really raw and inflamed looking. And that's where it looked like, God, it's getting so much worse. It seems like when she's not licking it, it's just pink and puffy spots. But when she licks them, it becomes really red and raw. So I keep stopping her. I even got her donut thing out. Oh, I put it on her a couple of times. One of the times I put it on until she took it off. So she knows I mean serious business. And I've got to wash all her stuff again. I've got to wash it like constantly. It's so stinky. And that happened with Winston too. But Winston's was way, way worse. Like now I just have a different outlook on cancer. But I would have known with him, I could have done more, but I had no idea at that point, of what all this stuff was about. I was still in the breaking free from Western medicine. Like he helped me learn that the way that they were about him with this cancer and stuff and the tests they wanted to do and how they treated me about it. It was some bullshit, man. I was like, oh my God, we pay for this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? So, anyways, that is neither here nor there. On this, though, she is very uncomfortable. She is very bitchy, but we slept really good last night. Like, that's how I broke my routine. Like, I slept like 11 hours. She woke up a little, but it wasn't like any big thing. She's got a little tiny area and she's trying to turn around in it. Lady, just lay right here. Oh my God, now she's got a big slobber draw. And, oh, that's going to go down on the floor. Hold on. I want my snot rag in case my nose started dripping. I'll just catch it now. So, anyways, so I'm still going on the natural, and I did order my my antibiotics that they gave for me, except for I don't need them. I really think he just needed to get that thing out of whatever it is, but I still have a sharp thing sticking out on this side. But now I know what you do. You just squeeze it like a pimple and get whatever's in there out of it, and then it reminds me of like a splinter, like when you have something in there and it does that. So anyways, but the incisions are getting close to being healed, but they are they hurt. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm kind of bony and it's like right up against my bones, and then I have to wear these tight things that go right across my bones, right across the incision. Maybe I've irritated it. Maybe, everybody's body is different. But anyways, for me, yes, those are definitely uncomfortable. But let me think. What was I saying? So I'm going to keep, so I got the antibiotic ordered, but now it's telling me it's not going to be here till like June 1st. I can't imagine it's really going to take that long because they're sending it in the mail. It's like, what the hell? I was thinking maybe it'd be here today, like you'd rush it. It's like it's a prescription. And I'm trying to think of, because I had them send the other ones, but I don't know. I must have had a lot going on because I can't remember how long it took for them to get here. But there's a lot of things I don't remember. Like, and the more that things keep happening, the more, I mean, my Swiss cheese brain has gotten more filled to me. Like, the holes don't seem as extreme or as close together, but there's still definitely holes. There's still definitely, like, especially when I get around my kids and they'll be talking about something and I'll be like, what? They'll be like, you don't remember? And I'm like, no, not at all. It's like, and it's so weird when you have people tell you stuff and it is like, it has nothing to you. Like no memory, nothing. It's just disappeared out of your reality. And it's strange because then it's also through their perspective. And I've had people tell me a lot of things through their perspective where I was like, there's no way, no way. I did not do that or say it that way, or I didn't mean it the way I said it or whatever. No way. And, but anyways, that's just, I'm sure that happens to other people too. It's not just the brain injury, but that's how it happens for me. And but my daughter's gone this morning. She had her last night at the haunted room. She was like, okay, I'm going now. She said that it wasn't as bad, but I had taken, because I had all those pictures with all those eyes in there and then the mirrors. And it was that one day, it was a couple, because I liked the paintings. I didn't think that much about it. And then I had rearranged the room again after the other girl had left. And I decided to make it more of like a closet, got all these dresses and stuff. So I started trying to, not everything will fit in my closet. Like my house is so small that both closets are tiny. And so one of them is so tiny. So anyways, the pictures. So I didn't think of them as like looking at me and, any kind of portal situation where somebody can hide behind those eyes and be watching. And I was, but then after I had the mirrors lined up, and I wasn't doing it on purpose. I had just moved the room around. And so I had this one mirror and it was across from this other mirror. But when you stood, it had this guy's eyes looking in the mirror, looking in this mirror. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a total fucking portal. And I could see how the eyes were being used. And then I started being like, oh my God, all these eyes in this room. So this is intense energy in here. But see, you have to pick up on these certain energies. That's why you can't just tell someone it's house is haunted. Like I had my last husband I talked about in the house that I lost my brain injury, the house I thought I was retiring in. It was going to be my house forever. My kids would come back to their bedrooms like in the movies and all that shit. And so that house was so motherfucking haunted. And it was newer. That's what always blew my mind, because I've lived in haunted houses my whole life. And that is an awareness. Like most people you've been around, tons of ghosts, tons of spirits, but you just don't have the awareness of it. And so it's all on vibration, what you pay attention to. And so you have to have the awareness of it. Everybody has the ability, but it's a shift in perspective. It's a shift in awareness. It's where you pay attention. That's what I keep trying to talk about, where you put your attention. That's why so many people are trapped in this 3D world and you can't explain to them how to get out of it. They have to figure it out. You can tell them and tell them, but people can't hear what you're saying until they figure it out for themselves. Then it's like, oh, I get what you're saying now. And but I can keep, talking about it to get people to think like how to go in that movement towards that direction. But, so now where was I? I'm fucking, So anyways, she took all those paintings to my other daughter. So I packaged them all up. Oh yeah, the haunted house at the other one. So that one was a newer house too. And it was this a whole bunch of levels. I think it was because there was the bottom one and then the floor and then the net. So it was 3 levels in this house. So it had 2 sets of stairs in 2 different parts and different, it was all like divided up kind of. And I loved that house so much. And yeah, it's the thing too, is like where you can't get just attached to something. Like losing something shouldn't break our hearts. You know, what it is when you have it, you got to learn to appreciate it. You got to learn to really love it while you got it. Because anything can be taken. And then when it's taken, you got to let it go and know that that time is up. But anyways, it's just stuff I've learned through loss. So the my husband and I had split up in that house. Like that was the house that he bought me to get back together, you know, like I'll do anything, you know. And so I said, well, I want that house. So we got this house. And but nothing changed. Our relationship stayed as broken as it ever was, and totally dysfunctional. And it only carried on further because we lived 2 different lives. I worked at night. He worked in the day. We barely crossed paths except for on the weekends when we go do stuff with our friends. And then it was fake. It was fake. And then if I ever was real, then I was like some psychopath. I was like, oh my God, she's so crazy. Look at what all problems she causes. I was like, you don't know what was just said to me. I'm like, what the fuck? So anyways, you know, nobody knows what your life is like. And, you know, but it's up to you to make the changes you want. You know, you can't just carry on in a fake life. So anyways, but we ended up splitting up in that house, but there was a lot of energy in that house. Like even after he left, I was like, oh my God, he's fucking haunting my house. It was like he was everywhere. I could see him everywhere. And this energy of him, I was like, fuck, I don't know about this. Like, do I really want to stay in this house? It's haunted by my ex-husband. I see him everywhere. And so and then dramas and stuff started happening anyways in life, you know, and I started going out, and that created a hugest thing. And my granddaughter died. It was like a lot of stuff. And so, you know, and I was bringing other, and then the very next guy, he was the one who really took advantage of me having no boundaries. He just moved right in, made himself at home, started fighting with my kids. And I was just like, I wasn't prepared at all for what I went through with that. Like there's things, you know, nobody hands you a rule book or, you know, how to get yourself out of this mess or that mess. It's all in the learning and the experience. So there's always stuff that you got to go through, but you learn it. And so, but it's hard lessons. And, you know, I could feel guilty as fuck about my kids or whatever, but, you know, they've all learned from it too. So everybody learns from these things and they all choose this. It's not like, you know, everybody's got to wrap their heads around. Like your parents aren't some horrible things that you just happen to be born to. You chose them. You chose the experience because it was going to bring up the things you needed to heal. It's just the way it is. So I'm going to argue about like, people can figure it out for themselves. And if they're not there yet, then so be it. So, but then, you know, I was a relationship junkie. So when that one ended in a hostile, I guess he was an addict, manipulative, narcissistic, all those kinds of things. But I was playing the other role. You know, I was the victim. Oh, look at me. Oh, my life. Oh, whiny, you know, drama. Go tell everybody about your problems, kind of. So I was, you know, the other role. So, you know, that's just the way it is. You got to have both things. You're not like the saint and they're the sinner. It's like you're playing something out that you can learn from or not learn from. And so that one, when it ended and I had just got out of the hospital. The day he moved out, I got out of the hospital with a brain injury. And so my life was just getting started in this whole different way. It was so confusing to me. Nothing was cohesive. I didn't know people. I couldn't figure out numbers. I could not run my house anymore. I couldn't keep up with my bank account. It was a fucking mess. And I would do things so impulsively. Like I would just do things and not think about it. Didn't think it through. We get lost all the time. It was an ordeal. But within, by summertime, I was in a new relationship. There's, like I said, there was always one not gonna, and plus there was, I'm sure, a lot in between. Oh yeah, because it was I was already having an affair when I was leaving that one. I'd already started an affair. I had tried to kick him out since the beginning of time of him moving in, and he wouldn't go, and he wouldn't go, and he wouldn't go. And so then at some point I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just going on with my life. And so I started seeing somebody else, but this, he's told me since that broke his heart. But I think it broke his ego more than his heart. But, he still tries to, I haven't talked to him in a few years, but I've seen him and talked to him a lot since this. And, anyways, but if he felt that close to me and stuff, see, he was still too broken to make a cohesive relationship that, you could be vulnerable and stuff in. He would take advantage all the time. And so, that's his lessons. So, when you're going to break people's hearts in life, it just happens. And, so he said, that I really broke me having an affair. But, what even opened that door to me anyways was because when he started his relationship with me, he just laughed about how much he cheated on his wife. He thought it was hilarious. So I was like, oh, really? Okay, let's play this game. Because I had another affair on him too. He didn't know about. And that was a married guy who I met. I was out with a friend and this married guy, and we started seeing each other. He was married and I was married, so that was the only way. And then once I said, I'm getting divorced, he was like, wouldn't speak to me. Just wouldn't even speak to me. But he was, I really liked him in that part because it was like a breath of fresh air. And we're always looking for this breath of fresh air, but we got to make bigger steps, not just like grab onto somebody else. Here, give me it's like grabbing onto their breathing mask. Oh, give me a little of your air, please. I need something. And so it's like rather than make big steps, we just use other people to make ourselves feel better. And those are patterns that we have to learn in ourselves to break them so we can move forward in our society. So it's things that we have to acknowledge in ourselves if we do those things. And so that one, when it broke up, then I was really sad about that. There was a few guys that made no sense how sad I got about the breakup. So that showed me, there was other things that were coming up in me, but I couldn't figure it out even then. I was like, this one guy, I'd only gone out with him a few times. I didn't even think he was that cute or anything. And I have no idea. It was like I met him and we had both been hanging out in Hollywood around the same time. I don't know if that was like the bond to me. It was like, oh, something from my past or something. I don't know. It was weird. And then because this is like decades later, and here we are meeting in a different bar where he's playing in some other band thing. And, some of those guys are just so full of themselves and they just know that there's a full rotation of girls always waiting. And so but sometimes they'll just chase you around until they get what they want. And then once they do, then it's like, and then sometimes you find yourself heartbroken and sad. And it's like, why am I so fucking sad? And, but it's like other things that you haven't dealt with are all coming up. And that's why it's so important to heal in between relationships, not just carry, here, just put some more in the bags. Let's go. Like it's important to empty your bags, empty your, get your soul back to status, like status quo, get it back to its stability and not push it and push it and push it. Like, have you had enough trauma? Are you sad? Like, let's go do it again. And so all this to get to this ghost story too. Oh my God, sometimes I'm so all over the place. Well, most of the time. I think there's only certain people who can keep up. Like, I don't think everybody, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But if you're going to come and tell me, I need Jesus, then you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm not the channel for you. So, and then you want to push it further. Like, okay, dude. Yeah. So so anyways, I was already a mess. I was already on a lot of pills because that was one thing that drug addict husband, I couldn't call him out on his drug addiction because I was a fucking pill popping fucking pharmaceutical junkie. So and that's, I'd be laughed at when I even tried to tell him anything. He would just turn on me. Like a narcissistic can do. They have these good abilities to work on your guilt, make you feel like shit. And but those are his things to break in his mind to have come up to me because I'm the one who has the problem with setting boundaries. I'm the one who has a problem standing up for themselves and stuff. So I've got to focus on what he's giving me. And he gave me a lot of, like, Kelly, you have a lot of problems. And so, anyways, I was already all on the drugs, and now I'm a fucking mess. And I meet this other guy. This is the young one. This is when I say my rock bottom. This was the rock bottom. This is the end of my relationship junkie cycle. But it was a tough one. Like, I even married him. We were together for 6.5 hard years. Very hard. Very draining. Like, he needed his mommy, not a wife. And so that, and he was just needed so much. Like, he was so fucking broken. And that's another thing that, certain personality types, like, the do-gooders, the fixers and stuff, like somebody's broken. Oh, here, I'll help you. And then they just suck the life out of you and take and take and take and take and take. Because that is something that I need to learn how to have boundaries and not let people just take and take and take and not just give beyond what I have to give. And, because then you got to question yourself, why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? It's for some, my ego wants a little petting. I'm the savior of this situation. I'm better than you. One thing I've said before, if you were in a relationship where you think this person's lucky to be with you, you're in the wrong relationship. Should be the other direction. Should be you feel like you're so lucky to be with them, not that they are lucky to be with you. If you're in that kind of relationship, then that's time that you got to be looking for an exit. It's like, okay, this is out of balance because I need to be with somebody who I have respect for, who I enjoy spending time with, not somebody who I feel like, dragging them behind me. So, anyways, but this relationship was as out of balance for me as it was for him. Like, it was bad for him, I'm sure. I doubt well, I don't know. He could be remarried for all I know. Maybe he just thought, well, it's all her. And, but, the thing that was his exit statement or whatever was he chooses alcohol. He's like, I'm choosing alcohol. I want to go have fun and drink. I don't give a fuck about you. And mine was like, okay, well, now when you don't have anybody to blame for all your problems, it's just going to be you. So go for it. Go. I can't wait for it. And, but, I had decades of pain and suffering that had to come up in me. That's when I went into my dark night. That's when I had to face all these sides of myself. That's how I can recognize these patterns and the parts we play and stuff. Because I went through this. It was like crystal clear to me. And I had to really look at myself. And, but back to the thing is when he moved in with me, he, I swear I told him the house was haunted. And he was like, oh, ghosts aren't real. Like, okay, well, I've only had that about 10 zillion times. So, okay. I just don't even with that anymore. Fuck. Okay. Just because you have no awareness doesn't mean they're not there. So, but we would be in the house a lot by myself because my one daughter, the youngest one that is still not speaking to me, she had left during the other husband. So she was not staying with me anymore. She was staying with her dad. And she would come sometimes, but there was still lots of times where she would get mad at me and not have anything to do with me. And I had another daughter that did that same thing. And then when she did it, she had kids, so she would, like, I wouldn't be able to see my grandkids or anything. So there was that whole thing. And both of them were the second born of because of the first husband and the second husband. So I think it is something to do with a lot of different things, like, because everything's about patterns and stuff. And so anyways, But once he was living there, then he started being like, oh my God, this house is so haunted. I can't believe it. And it was like, it was so loud. And that was one where other people saw things, like my daughter. I already had told this story before, but my one daughter, she was down there with her boyfriend when, she was older before she moved out. She probably was already pregnant. And I think I was trying to get her to stay here and just, finish school. I'll help you. But she wanted to go, get married and have her family. And, you can't stop somebody from their journey. The journey is set for them. No matter what you do, you throw yourself down, they're just going to step right over you to get to their journey. So you can sit there and think, oh, wait, you can make this work. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. No, their journey is awaiting them. They've got to get on the road. So, but when she was down there with him and they were asleep one night, and she said she woke up and she felt, I don't remember if she felt like something was watching her or whatever, but when she woke up, she looked and there was a guy standing at the end of her bed looking, like standing there, leaning over, like this really old looking man. And she could see him in her TV screen. And so, and her husband, the father of my grandchildren, all of them, but he, because they stayed together for a long time and had more kids, and he is from his mom is Native American, so he had spent a lot of time on the reservation, and when you go to places like that, it's very open about spirits and stuff. Like, they have complete awareness of spirits. And, like, you got to watch out for certain things, like the red-eyed wolf and stuff like that. Like, you go out on the reservation. So he is really aware of ghosts and stuff. And so when she hit into him, and she was too, because I've always pointed it out, like, because ghosts are real. And so she hits into him, and she shows the screen, and he looks up and he sees the guy in the TV screen, but you can't see him standing at the end of the bed. You can see him in the TV, but you can't see him in the thing, on the bed thing. And so he gets up and is trying to walk around the bed to get to the light to turn it on. And as he's going, my daughter said that the guy at the end of the bed turned his head and was watching him. How fucking creepy, especially if you are young like that. And so he takes off and he runs and he flips the light on, and she runs behind him, and they run up the stairs because they were at the bottom. They run up the stairs, and they thought they were going to get in trouble because my ex must have still been there. And so they ran up the stairs and jumped on the couch, and they said they heard the feet coming behind them. This is so scary too, because it brings up that time when I they said I was hallucinating because of my high temperature when I had, scarlet fever. And it was so scary when you have something coming behind you and you can hear it so fucking loud. Like, what people go through who have schizophrenia and stuff, they are like in a realm, and their mind's able to be in this realm or something where they can hear this stuff. And a lot of those that energy is dark and mean. And like I've said, this is full of dark energy here. And so when they ran up the stairs, she said she could hear the footsteps behind him. And then when it got to the top of the stairs, it slammed the door. And she said they both slept on the couch. They were scared to death. And then they kept thinking they were going to get in trouble for making so much noise. She said it was so fucking scary. And when I had been down there, only had like a shadow come over me, where it's this big dark energy. You can feel it too. You can feel that, like, something's with me. Something like it. That going down there was always creepy to me. Because of my other daughter in the other bedroom down there, she said that she had this little girl come in her room, and she looked like a little pioneer girl. So see, that's the thing, is like, and so many things have hidden history, and this was a new housing development, and they just go over old stuff. Like I have said, like, this this world that we are existing in right now is going to go under. It's like a part of the carbon base, of the planet, of her experience. And so it will all go down in the history like all of the other places. And then it's there for us to learn and understand from when we become able to do that in our own conscious state. It's, that's why there's so much people coming into their consciousness, into this other higher consciousness state that is opening their minds, and they're questioning history and things like that. But there isn't this what is it that I said? It's like the same thing with the segments. It's like segments of time. It's not all this one thing. It doesn't all go together like we think, or like they've tried to push us into thinking. It's different periods of time. But anyways, so that new housing development could be built over anything, like a pioneer family and they thought that in their world, if they're still alive together, we're invading their space. If they have awareness of us, if they're sitting there watching. Or it can be also like that one haunted house that I lived in, where the woman who had died and she had been married forever. When we moved in, I was sure she thought her husband was my husband and I was the woman trying to interfere. She was like out to get me. And she was always protective of him. And it was wild. And so that one, I felt like she was confused. But I lived in another one where the guy had his family. There was so many things, like the Geibels in Dallas. Like you can even look up about, like, it had so much tragedy in that family. But I kept thinking that because of what he had gone through with that he was like protective I know he was protective of me. So see, I know that spirits can be protective. And but his daughter, because he had a teenage daughter and she had mental problems and she tried to burn the house down or something. And so I thought he was protective of me because of, like how I've said, like you get to when you get to your end of your game, your part that you play, you still are holding on to things. You still want to fix things. And so people get stuck in that. So it is not like all ghosts are, still in their reality, just living their world. Some are trying to fix things and have different awarenesses and stuff. It's all different states of consciousness, just like how we can see people around here. And it has like an energy, like if somebody's very trapped in an energy. That's why they talk about like murder trap, like if you people who go through like a really horrible thing, that they can get trapped replaying that trauma over and over and over. I don't know, like that one ghost story thing that I had heard where the woman was, I can't remember the whole thing. It was something about like she had been married before and then, because you're always playing these other things. And so whatever her husband was, he had left her or she had left him. And then in this life, he had left her. And so she had stayed at this house and she wouldn't leave it because she kept waiting for him to come back. And so then when she died, she was like trapped there. She was staying there as a ghost. I don't even know, how did I even hear this story? It's weird because it's like I can hear it from her or something. But who has been telling it? Because she's gone. It's her ghost story. So I don't know. I don't remember. But she kept staying there and trying to run people out. Like like people would try and move in and she'd try and run people out because she saw it as her house. And so she kept running people out of it. And then it was something about her guide showed up and said something like, "Are you done yet?" And so then she's like, "Yes, she's ready." And so she left. It's not like you could be just trapped there forever, but it's like some kind of an energy or something. It's like a completion or something. So I don't know. I have heard of people being more trapped in a kind of replay. Like they show that in scary movies all the time. I just was watching one and it was showing that the replay that kept going. And But anyways, you can't tell somebody ahead, but once they see it, like, because when you tell them, they'll just keep being like, oh yeah, right, it's not ghost, there's always an explanation. But when they experience it and something happens and then they try and look for the explanation and can't find it, that's when they start being like, okay, something weird's going on. And then it, will go more. It's like, even if I had told my daughter, well, that back room is haunted. Well, she would have probably said, well, she would have probably believed me if I said, and she would have probably said, well, I don't sleep back there. But I didn't say anything because it's like, maybe not everybody's going to pick up on it. Maybe it's not haunted for everybody. But yeah, she was like immediately like, no way, like something's going on in that room. And the other room was better, but now I took those paintings out too, and now I feel like it's a lot calmer. Because I swear to God, they'll use anything. Like I had to turn all of my dresses too, because they'll use that to hide behind so that they can watch you. There's like a lot of it's like it's really windy. It's like okay. So it's like we're a certain vibration. So our eyes pick up this, like the imagery that we see is not the imagery that everybody sees. Like all living things don't see the same. And so some can see through color and vibrate. Like when they put on these different, like the army people, when they put on these like different glasses, like these different things that they've worked on figuring out, like red, like I've got the red light on right now, but the ultraviolet or red ray or yellow or whatever those different things, then they can put it on and they can see like heat, or they can see like energy. They can see different things like that. That's how some other things see. So not everything sees like how we see. That instead they see that. And so, and it's all like always this variation, this gradation of energy. And so, and it all is dependent on your awareness of what you're consciously can have awareness to see, to know that it's there, to look for it or something. So it's way more of everything has to do with your consciousness, your awareness, your ability to it's like the ability to understand yourself. So many people are just hanging on something over them, a God. The devil made them do it. God will forgive them. Like they need that in order to understand themselves, to forgive themselves or something. But not everybody is like that. Like a lot of people are more like me, and you don't need all that stuff. Like you understand that you are the everything, and everything comes from you. And the experiences that you're having have to do with growing and healing and stuff like that. So it's all on different levels. And there could be people that, see things way past what I see. But I'll tell you fucking what. Like, it's hard. It's definitely hard to see what I can see. And then try and tell people. Because then they interpret it not how it is meant to be. And it was really just talking to my daughter about something again, because we've had these conversations before, but it is again to me where it is the people, how they interpret what you say. And it always finds me where I'm like trying to defend myself. Like, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm saying this and you're taking it as that. It's like, but that was the same thing when we got in that conversation about who the bad guys were. And she, thought I was being like anti-Semitic or something like that, because it's so high in the programming. And then when all this, Kendrick and stuff started coming up in the conversations that were going, then she started seeing. And, because who do you think owns the music studios? Who do you think is in charge of all this stuff? And I was talking about the cultural attack that has happened through, because they don't like dark-skinned people. I mean, they fucking eat them. They don't give a fuck. And they fucking lock them up and stuff. And what's fucking absurd, too? And I probably said this yesterday, but fucking Kim. Like, I don't know. Maybe I didn't say this. Maybe I saw it after. But for this whole fucking thing with... Oh, no, I did say it, because because I just said something with Crystal. But so, yeah, that whole absurd bullshit, that Kim is going to pull her in. And you got to think about, too, who are Kim's friends? They're fucking people who own the goddamn prisons. If they're going to reform anything, it's going to be fucking reform the mouth that's saying anything bad. They're going to fucking shut it down. I was like, girl. But the fucking ego gets them going. And then our fucking society who idolizes fucking murder. It's like, god damn. Ugh, we got some broken ass shit here. I'm like, fuck, people got to get their shit together. And, and another one's popping up right now. It is girl on Twitter, apparently. She had been going viral, and she made this video of her bawling her head off, saying, she's having to cook her own birthday cake and all this stuff. And so then I guess her ex was getting sent this video over and over and over, so he spoke out. And that so everybody's supporting her, but they don't have a full fucking story, and they don't know that she's ratchet, and so they are all in support of her, just blind support, just like, well, I don't know them, but they must be nice. Oh, they look good, so they must be nice. Well, so she has all this support, and all these women, of course, oh, he's so evil, men are so bad, and then so then he's come out now with his video. She doesn't have custody of her kids. She owes $21,000 in back child support. She ripped off a guy for $1 million. She's been in prison for fraud. She is, she's got a lot of fucking issues. Fucking criminal, but she looks good. Looks good. Let's follow her. She goes viral all the time. And so anyways, he's spilling it on her. And I said that there's going to be so much humiliation that's going to go on with this. Just like what's going on with Kendrick and fucking Drake. And Drake just keeps going. It's like, dude, it's time to eat some humble pie. Like, get your ego under control. Like, god damn. And it's like, dude, this guy is flushing you down the toilet. He is humiliating you. He's calling you out on everything. This is not just like, it's beyond dissing. And anyways, because my daughter had me, like, we were listening to all these videos yesterday, like, they were pretty fun, but boy, you get that song stuck in your head. It's like, replay. It's like, oh God, shut up. Like, I like the song, but I don't want to hear it anymore. And, but these reaction videos, so all these different people, because hip hop is like a culture. It's like, they all know these different names and stuff like that. And so when they are saying things in these songs, the guys are all impressed with how you can use words and say stuff. Like watching 8 Mile a long time ago, I saw the passion behind these word battles that they would do and stuff. And so it's, there's a lot to it. And so, but he's not just dissing him, he's roasted him. And so these guys are all saying all of this different stuff, and they breaking down the song and saying what he's really saying and stuff, and these reaction videos. So anyways, I was watching about those, and I was talking about the cultural attack, especially through the music industry, just through all of these things. Who do you think owns this shit? And who do you think, when they're putting their own people, because they claim these people because that's their mask, but you got to separate the Z's from the J's. And so the J's have been so engulfed, but you even have the Christians who are engulfed. Like, if I try and tell my mom something, she just is all supportive of the J's. It's like, but mom, the J's are the mask for the Z's. Isn't that weird? The mask for the disease. Like, everything is so micro macro. Like, that's trippy. But anyways, a lot of people, especially religious people, they're hanging on to, please let there be a God. It's like, yeah, there is, but it's inside of you. And you got to see, like, you got to learn how to forgive yourself. You got to learn how to take responsibility for yourself. Like, but, you can still say, oh, well, God, devil, maybe, whatever. So it's up to you how you want to live. But, so, where was I? On a rant. So anyways, the Z's own everything. They're the ones who have all the money. It goes way back. Like, they are the They are the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all that shit. Where people want to sit there and say, oh, well, they're devil worshippers or something. You know, they've got some kind of deity or something that they worship. Something. Like, I don't know. But it's, you know, whatever this Moloch or whatever that fucking thing is at the Grove or whatever. And he says something about that in the songs too. So anyways, whatever their deal is to control us through money and our lifestyles and stuff. So, you know, that's their heavy intention. And so we buy into it when we go in, participate, and, you know, live through what they've got to offer in their habitat, their good jobs and stuff. But they give their best jobs to certain people who they can control, because that's the parameters, like what I was talking about, that it creates the walls in our pasture, it creates our fencing. So they put certain personalities to hold the border. And they've done this forever. Now they use like the siphoning through the education, the testing, all their little stuff to move, you know, like, to figure out who's going to hold what. And so it's all where people go like, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I get ahead? Well, there's reason. There's reason. And so it's all collapsing. It's all going to collapse. It's all going to fall. And everybody's going to have different parts of themselves that they will lose, and then other parts of themselves that will grow from it. And so it's all, you know, for your benefit. It's, you know, this, you wouldn't be going through this experience if it wasn't for your benefit, or for the benefit of the whole fucking universe. Because you bring in a new perspective, you bring in a new experience for the observation of opportunity, of not just like opportunities, but availabilities of things that could or would or should happen. Like we give all those life to all the possibilities. And so that's why you got to play your part, not try and play somebody else's part. Your part is significant. Your perspective, how you see things, what you experience through it is all important to the universe. And isn't because, oh, this guy's got money, so he's more important. No, that's just another experience that everything is, you know, well, what does this do? Well, if you take away this, if you add this, if you do this, if you do that, what happens then? That's what we are, all the expressions of that, you know? So so anyways, where was I? Like 47 minutes in. Okay, let me think. Okay, so I finished up, I think, is that the ghost thing? So ghosts are all around. There's spirits all around. It's all in places where portals are vibrational areas where more energy is able to move through. Like it can hold a lot of different vibrations. And then there's other places where, to me, it's like a honeycomb, but it is, and then the places where the vibration is more stable. Like, so you could be, it's like your own little world right there. And, but there is all of this other, there's all of these openings, because everything is realms. Like I could have another reality that's right here, but we're at just two different vibrations. And it could be going on right now, presently. You know, it may not be something from the past. It can be happening right now. And so that is like where you can be like, oh, there's a lot of action going. Where to me, I take it as like, it seems kind of like there's just like this other reality, like this merging of realities or something. It's not like I feel like that there's a ghost in here like haunting the house or something. There's just a lot of energy. It's like this presence. And but it's also whatever, if there's something that is there that's like likes the energy here, so it keeps lingering and hanging out, it isn't the vibration that can come in here. You see what I'm saying? Everything is by your vibration. You can't move past your vibration. And I wonder too, over this birthing process where we go through this, you know, and we are establish ourselves as this flesh and blood, but it's really just an optical illusion. But that is um if that doesn't lower our vibration. It seems like to me that it brings your vibration down to be able to be here. But when you reconnect to yourself and you see that you're more, that re-inflates your vibration. So maybe that, and that's why it starts changing, where you can start seeing things and stuff. Oh, and this one guy, I think I told about this guy's story before, is with the black-eyed people, when they were talking about the demon people. And so this guy's a delivery guy, and he had gone for a delivery, and he said he's gone there before and seen the guy before, but this time when he handed him something, the guy turned and looked at him, and he had black eyes, and he had this like really eerie face and stuff. And so it freaked him out. He hurried, gave it to him, and left. And so we did a video about it, and so people were like, tell us more. And so Friday, he just had to go do a delivery, and he was going to do his Monday deliveries because it's a holiday, and which that's going to stretch out the antibiotic. I should have just drove and got it. But anyways, so, but see, our body has natural abilities. I'm going to give her some of the oregano oil. I'm going to give her some oregano oil today. And that has got stronger antibiotic ability. So I think I'll just give her like some of that for the next few days, like just in her mouth or something. So anyways, I always go off on something else. The vibration, was that what I was talking about? Oh yeah, the guy with the black eye thing. And so he was not going to do his delivery on Monday, he did on Friday. So he went to the place, and I think nobody was there or something. I don't remember what he said. But somebody was telling him to look up about who the guy was or something. And he said, I went and looked it up because you guys told me to. He said, I find it far more disturbing now because it says this guy died in October of 2023. So he goes, he starts going in this defensive thing, like, I know I'm not crazy. I know this really happened. But that's the thing that will fuck with your head, because there can be these different realities. Like, you could step into a different reality because all these different realities are happening. We're trying to put them all together. But what I think part of the awakening is to understand it, is to just kind of get it. And so now he's looked up and seen like that the guy he delivered to was dead. So he's very confused, like, because he really had an interaction with them. And but there's lots of people who have interaction with people who, aren't in our real reality. Like, you slip into their reality, and it's all through these energetic, like, wormhole thing. There's just, it's like, I don't know, when you talk about it, like, they make it too sci-fi. It's not like that. It's like, like if you, okay, like right here, if I'm looking out the big trees, and all of the branches that come out, and then all of the little needles that come off the branches, and then you look through, that you can see the sky. There's little like holes and little places, and you can see it. That is what the universe is like, right there. It's like density and not density. It creates fabric, like the fabric of life. It's developed through patterns. Like, when you go and you break it down, you find patterns and stuff. But it's just like that. There's just density and less density. So it's not all sci-fi and stuff. That's why I know we're going to start moving more through portals and stuff, because we're going to start, maybe they're going to start showing us where they fucking are. Well, I bet you that they know where they fucking are, and they're probably a lot underneath us. Underneath the ground thing is why they use these trains that they can go from like fucking New York to Japan in 1 minute, is because there's probably, they know where they are or something. But they're all around us. They're in the forests. They're everywhere. Like, I think there's one back here in my bedroom. So they're just like density places where there's more energy that can move through. And then we just so happen to be in this realm that is where there's a lot of experiences happening. Like, even if you think like, oh, Bigfoot's a monster, whatever, well, it's a being who's having an experience. And all these different, the skinwalkers, the whales, the dolphins, the octopus, like, everything is like all different beings having different experiences. And oh yeah, that thing I was gonna say this morning, I was glad that as humans that that's not our thing, is to like clean ourselves with our tongue. But then I was thinking, but then also it does cause us to have to do other things or something, because I think most animals can clean themselves with their tongue. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty limber, but I don't know if I could like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to, but it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I thought of that this morning when, I'm trying to argue with her. Stop licking it. Leave it alone. I was like, but it's so natural for her. I was like, but this is what I'm supposed to do. It's like, yeah, but it's making it more irritated. But anyways, and there's animals out there, who don't go to the vets. They don't go. And I'm not just talking about abused animals that are held by people, not fed, not water, none of that stuff. I'm talking about like deers and moose and bears and stuff. But we all have obstacles. Everything has obstacles. That's part of the challenges of life. Being alive is to get the full experience, not just the good parts. To see what is the experience, what is life, what is living, what does it entail, what happens when it happens. And it's weird because we're creating it at the same time that we're trying to understand it. And so, there'll be more of an elaboration, I'm sure. Like, especially if we're around for another like 10,000 years, and you stay in this same state of consciousness, you will see a lot of changes occur. Yeah, especially as we start, being more spiritual and having more contact and learning more about our own abilities, and then going through this healing process. There's going to be such an elaboration of what life is and what it's all about and stuff. Like, this is very exciting time on our planet. Very exciting. And there is a lot going on. Like this thing with the hip hop thing. Watching all those videos and watching what the people were saying and the reactions and stuff. Like, there was a lot of people who were like, there was a lot of certain ways that people looked at Drake, apparently, but it was that people didn't say stuff because, he's rich and famous. He's obviously doing it. Where do we have a thing to say? But he was using other people's cultures. He would, if he needed to make an album, he'd run and, like, well, I'm going to go get these guys on it, and he was always like, he's from Toronto, Canada. It's like but he's trying to act like he is from this inner city culture. And then those are very different too. Like, if you go to, I don't know why Oxnard's coming in my mind, but there's different places in California that are, inner city places. Just like when I was growing up in Dallas. Dallas was inner city, and that is when they moved all of those kids into our school. Like, my school was half black, even though it was in the suburbs, because they bust all these kids out of their neighborhood. It really has me thinking, so much about their agendas and all their stuff, and about their destruction on the culture, on these people. But the culture is different in California than it is like if you went to Philly, than it is if you went to Chicago, if you went to Harlem, if you went, like, there's different inner city. Like, Atlanta is its own thing. And so these people in these different areas, they have, different ways of being or doing things, different ways that they talk. Like, they'll say different words in a different way. And like a lot of it's like a development of their own language. But anywhere you go, like, you go in the Appalachian, it's gonna be, you go down into the Cajun people, it's gonna be like any place where there's pockets of people who are a culture that are in together, they develop their own language. And that is why they came up with English, and then why they try to put pressure on people, speaking, you got to speak English, you got to speak proper English and stuff. And, that was a part of the parameters that they tried to take other people's languages, and they just have been out to break down these other people's cultures and stuff. And so culturally, they have very distinct ways, like, that they talk and stuff. And so Drake. And the thing too that they're saying as well is that he talks real proper. Like he just talks real proper. And then he goes in and starts, doing his songs and starts talking. And so anyways, there's a lot of things that are said. And so, he's being drug, man. But this is the fake part of life, this fake phoniness. Just like, he goes around like he's like a stud or something, and his body is made in a plastic surgeon's office. And he is, and he doesn't have culture, even if he's desperate for it and he really wishes, he was born in Harlem instead of Toronto. It's like, but it's still, you can't go in and be a part of something that you're not. We all are born in a certain, like our experiences is our experiences, but there's people who try and take other people's lives, like I've said, like, oh, they've got it better. He could have, been real, and if he wanted to be a singer, and that's another thing too. Even in this battle that's going on, this word battle, is he uses ghostwriters. And then another slap in the face that's going on is like as soon as Drake comes out with his rebuttal, that Kendrick fires. He's just fired, and Kendrick is writing his stuff where people are like, he's got to have this pre-written. How could he be this quick and be able to come up with this so much stuff? There's like, I don't know where they keep saying double a con, like he's doing a whole bunch of stuff with the words. Like he's won a Pulitzer Prize because of his ability with words. And so he is saying a lot of things in a lot of, poetic ways, or I don't know, they're all, and it's bringing up certain things that have all been, hush hush, you don't talk about that or whatever. And a lot of them are like, oh my God, he's saying that he's a pedo. Well, there was suspicion, like there's a lot of people are like, why is Drake always with these young girls? And so, they're talking about all this stuff now. And, but what I was trying to say to my daughter is like, this was all done on purpose. Like them filling the prisons and everything they've been doing to try and destroy these different people. They've been doing it since they came and invaded America. They've been trying to destroy these different cultures and trying to get us to go against them and stuff. One thing that they had is like, these people will always be the leaders. We're not the leaders. Like we are, like, we're lab created. These people are the cult. It's like their blood. I don't know. It is like they've got a deeper connection. Like, I mean, just like when I'm watching this stuff and you see these guys, they are so, like I, compare them to like a lot of white guys. And this has gone on this isn't something I just came up with. This has been going on since I was young. Like, white man can't jump, white man can't dance, all that stuff, all the time. So it's stuff where you start paying attention, like, it's like, fuck, a lot of white guys really don't have rhythm. Like, they just really can't feel it. Well, go try and find a black guy that can't feel it. Like, most of them, like, they feel it, man. It's in them. They feel it. And that's what I'm saying. That is something with the melanin. And that is why they've been trying to take it out of us. Is because then, it takes something away. But anyways, when you go and listen to these guys, they're they're so raw, and they just show themselves. And they're all dancing all the time and stuff. And, there's just a more uptightness with a lot of white guys. And, but this is the part. Oh, and this is another thing that I keep seeing lately. Like, it'll show this, like, nerdy kind of, I don't know, not nerdy, but, a white guy who just looks like white guy. How he's dressed, that was whatever. And then it shows him once he's gone black or something. I don't know what the little catchphrase is that they're doing these videos to. It's something like that. When I was dating white and then I went black or something. And so once they get a black girlfriend, oh my God, the style that comes out in these guys. All of a sudden they've got style and stuff. That is what I'm trying to say. There's just like, but it can be developed. Like, I mean, I think I've got style. Like I know I can dance. So, it isn't just, and I'm white, And so, you could stereotype and generalize, well, white girls can't dance, and then I can get on the floor. I've had black guys come up to me and go like, damn, girl. And so, I know I can dance. So that, and to me, it's just you go out and feel it. You feel it. When you feel a laugh coming on, you laugh it. You're not trying to hide who you are. You're not trying to be different than you are. You just be yourself and feel in the music and stuff. And so it's like feeling life on a different way. And I feel like it's part of the something. It's definitely a part of what they tried to do with making white people, is cutting them off from their culture, making them identify as just a white person and stuff like that, and giving all these parameters. What's a normal person? What's an abnormal person? What's a saint? All this shit that they tried to do, because so many people, none of us are sane. None of us are just normal. We're just trying to pretend to be something that we're not. You gotta get comfortable with just being your Abby normal. Like, you don't have to be normal. You just have to be you. And they try and make people uncomfortable because none of us are normal. And so then they try and be like, well, this is normal. And so then everybody starts feeling like, well, I'm not normal. Something's wrong with me. Everybody else is this way, but I'm this way. I got to change myself. I got to be different. I got to do something different. So that's where, and then people start thinking too much about, overthinking themselves. And then they start feeling anxious, like, oh my gosh, and they're not doing it good enough. You just got to get way more relaxed. Like, and the same thing of being able to just go out there and dance like nobody's looking. Like, who cares? Why do you care about what somebody you don't even know is thinking of you? Especially when you understand how souls even think and what they're even trying to do and trying to process and trying to understand. Like, if somebody's watching you while you're dancing, that don't automatically think it's because you're doing it wrong. I'll be thinking like, hey, I'm looking pretty good. They're watching me. Maybe they're learning to be, maybe you do some stupid steps, and then they think like, well, damn, they're not perfect. I'm going to go out there and dance myself. Why do I feel like I have to be perfect to be able to go out and dance? Why can't I just go out and feel the music and get in the rhythm and the groove? And so that is, that's a part of letting go, letting yourself be free, letting your soul show itself. And so anyways, there is no doing it wrong. It's just getting comfortable with being you and doing what you think and being honest and truthful about what you think and what you feel. And it just is so much about just breaking down these parameters of what they've tried to get us to live by. And there is like so much of, just destruction that they've done on our civilization. And, there's been against huge cultural attacks against anything of significance. And then we are the creation of no attachment. They are even pushing, don't have attachment to your families. I mean, kill your mom and go be famous with the Kardashians. Like, fuck that. Kill your parents unless you're a Mendoza boy. Is that the name? See, I'm still having places where it's like, is that the name? But who I'm talking about, the boys that killed their dad because he was raping them and, beating them and stuff like that. And they didn't know what else to do but kill him and kill their mom too. And, but, as all this stuff comes out, like, there's so many moms, like, I can't even fucking believe how many moms just, like, turn their kids over, so for their lifestyle. It's like, well, do what daddy wants. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with people? And a lot's wrong with people. A lot's wrong with all of us. But we are the ones who have to face it. We're the ones who have to fix it. Like, God's not going to forgive you and make you all better. The devil's not making you do it. You're making choices for yourself. And most choices we make out of ignorance because we're not looking at the full picture. Just like all these people jumping in to support this woman. And then it comes out, she didn't even have any husband or kids there. She's lost all her family. She's used people, abused people, and she's tricking people now. And I just saw another one too. Now my stomach's growling. I just saw another one too where another mom, and I don't even know if this is the same one. Another one is going to jail for faking cancer or something on a GoFundMe. And then I saw another one being interviewed where she was like, well, don't you feel bad about lying to people about your sickness when you don't even have one? And she just keeps making excuses and stuff. So there's a lot of people, like anywhere you can take advantage of our society, people have jumped in and do it. And that is not the devil making them do it. That's them looking at a place, a hole in our, an opportunity in our society and going, well, you know, it may be immoral, but who cares? Everybody else is immoral, so I'm just going to go do this. Yeah, but it's going to hurt your soul, and you're going to put things out of balance when you hurt other people. So it's your lessons, and go do you. But but the putting it out of balance, all the people, but screwing people over and taking advantage of people, that is a part of our society that's being purged out. That's why it's so, like when you see all these people just selling stuff, asking for money all the time, it's so cringy. It's just like, oh my God. Is this desperate part of our society? Just, Mom, gimme. And, you know, just willing to take advantage. Like, I just can't even believe, but that's same thing, I keep on picking up on some of this dog drama stuff. Like, some of this is being created. Some of this is they're doing this for grants. It's just, it's disgusting. Yeah, all this stuff with, there's just so much disgusting stuff coming to the surface. Like, it's really, you know, it's a fucking, it's like a toxic, like our world had become such a sludge, so much dark energy, just everybody trudging through it, like, feels good, I'm gonna fuck somebody over today. Like, nobody fucking caring and just out to screw people over and take advantage where they can. It's just, but those things are changing in our society. Like, that energy is changing. The energy is not going to be there anymore. So it's not like the people can hide behind it anymore. It's like the trees are being cut down. Whatever you're hiding behind, you're going to be exposed. And so a lot of people who have these characteristics is going to be really obvious. And there's going to, I mean, we still have this shift coming, and I don't know in this shift if there's going to be, you know, a million people who are going to leave all of a sudden. It's very possible. It's going to be, that's what's going to be our big impactful thing that happens, is like a whole bunch of people die, and it's really, really scary. And that is where people just really start being like, what the fuck? Like, what is this all about? What are we doing here? Why are we here? You know, and everybody's already getting these clicks, these little things inside of their soul, waking up to this, waking up to that, you know, questioning this, questioning that. And it's just, you know, going and going and going and going and going. But we still have this big thing that's going to really be like, whoa. Because, you know, even when I was talking to my daughter, like, she could be awake to all these other things, but did not have any idea what I'm saying about something else, where I just sound like crazy. And then it was even a point where, you know, I always get told, you've just become so conservative, like a prude and stuff. Remember when you used to be this way? Remember when you used to do this? And, you know, when I was, and I wasn't walking around the house with no clothes on, because I was like, I thought that as, I had all daughters, and I thought as a daughter, as a woman, that, you know, it shouldn't be like I had more of a mom who would hide all the time. And it's like, are we supposed to be ashamed of our bodies? And like, I was confused. And so I wanted to just walk around, you know, like, be proud of your body. Don't be trying to hide it. You know, you don't have to be perfect to just be you. But that can also come across as, like, you know, intimidating, obviously. And so, you know, I did lots of weird things, you know, like, but whatever, you know, I was who I was. And so anyways, she starts saying, you know, like, my change is like, I've become conservative. And so, you know, she was back there in a meeting and stuff, and I kept thinking about it. And so I was like, why do they keep thinking I'm conservative now, instead of going like, remember when Mom wasn't healed, and now how she is as a healed person? And so that is when she came out. I said, it's so weird how, instead of going like, when you weren't healed, when you were more toxic, and now when you're healed, It's like, why is that not it? How's that shift into like back like when you were liberal and now when you're conservative? It's like, because if you talk to my friends back in high school, like, I mean, nobody would talk to me about the A word. It was like, oh, because they knew. I would be like, no, you shouldn't do that. If you got a baby growing in you, that's your life journey. That's there for a reason. And I've always had this other way of looking at things. It's always rubbed people weird. And I've always been able to see things that other people couldn't see. And it always has caused me, "Oh, you're so weird. Why do you think that? Why do you It's like, fuck, man, it can be a lonely place. Like, I'm so happy to have this outlet where I can just spill it, and then people who want to hear it can listen and be like, yeah, see, here's another weirdo like me. Like, us weirdos got to stick together. To me, it's just, I don't know, I can just see things beyond what people are looking at. And I don't know. When you try and point it out, people are always like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, there's got to be someone out there to talk to. Got to be someone else who notices this shit. So, anyways, but I think as part of the awakening, I think more and more people are noticing, more and more people are waking up and questioning things and having different conversations. And we're just still in the pre-stages. Like, we haven't even hit it hard yet. And so I think when we hit it hard, it's when this energetic shift happens, and that is when everybody suddenly sees things they hadn't seen. Right now, it's just kind of coming in, like people are going and supporting this person, and then all of a sudden this other information comes out about them, and it's like, oh my gosh, why was I supporting them? Like, it makes you need to be looking at yourself, not just like, oh, they tricked me, oh, fuck them, stupid ass dog. That's going outside of yourself, go into yourself and be like, oh, fuck, I was tricked. Why was I tricked? Why was I supporting them? Probably because you felt like a compassion towards some kind of thing that they went through because of something you went through. So then you have to get down to the buried treasure inside of you of what you went through so you can release it. So you got to find your own pain and trauma. These other things just bring it to the surface. So anyways, let me think. If there was something else, I haven't been... I just like every time I go on TikTok, it's just like annoying. So I just haven't been going on there. And I don't really know, there could be like some more storms like I hear. It's still just dark. I saw though yesterday it snowed somewhere. And so it's dark and overcast, same weird color, this weird wind and drizzly. It's like, I swear to God, we've been in the same weather for fucking 2 years. Maybe 3. Like, I swear to God. It was like quarantine started and this became the weather. It's like, fuck. Maybe, well, I don't know. I'm so fucking burnt out. Like, I'm so ready for change. I am like, I definitely feel like a chick in the egg chipping away. And it's like, okay, I'm ready to come out of this fucking egg. I'm ready for some fucking change. I'm ready for something to, it's like we're all been in here. It's like been in hibernation. Not everybody. I know some people are out just like living their lives. Some people have to still work and stuff like that. But some of us have been in a complete hibernation for a while. But but even if you are going to work and stuff, if you're taking time to look at things, reevaluate yourself, and think about things, you're still working on your healing and growing. And don't forget, if you are still at work, all of those different triggers, the different things and different situations that happen with the people, they're all for healing. I know they're happening all the time. I see people talking about them on videos. Things that are happening at work, things that happen with a client, things that they see, that they witness, that they experience. All those things are for you to grow. So any of the things that come and happen, just go in deeper to them and really try and flesh out where your feelings, why you have feelings towards it, and find where the feelings come from, the initiation of those feelings, because that is where you can purge them out to where you can release it. And you'll keep having things keep happening to keep trying to move it up. Like, it could be stuffed way down. And so you have to keep moving it up, moving it up, moving it up. So if things keep happening, like repeat things, and it's like, fuck, why does this keep happening? Which yesterday, I swear to God, it is weird. to go out, like go out and walk Stella. And then, you know, this is houses down. And then all of a sudden they're out at the exact same time every time. Like, what? How is that? Like, I am around people all over here. Don't run into them ever. But every time I go out the door, I run into the same person. It's weird. Like, and so, you know, I will still keep asking, like, even yesterday where I was like, huh, well, maybe it's somebody who's here spying on me. That's where you can start getting paranoid. Like, you got to watch out with your paranoia during all this stuff, because all this stuff, like, there's some weird stuff. Like, I don't know how I keep running into this person. And it's just weird. Like, fuck, I don't know. But anyways, when you have these things happening at work or something, these things that bring up all these feelings, and then and you don't get it purged out, be guaranteed another thing will happen that's going to raise it more. It's going to keep poking and prodding this thing inside of you until you can release it, until you can look in yourself and see what it is that you're holding on to. What trauma, what instance, and you may not be able to see it clearly, but it's just keep working. You're going to keep working until you get to it. So anyways, you can still be going to work and, you know, all those things and still be healing, still, you know, chipping away at your egg that is containing you to break free to the other side, to get to, you know, find yourself, breaking out of all the containment that was created to keep us under their control, and so that they could keep using our energy and taking from us. And so, but see, we're giving it freely until we realize. Like, so we have got to wake up and realize. Otherwise, we're just a part of the mess. We're just a part of the, but you learn all that stuff like later in your other things. You learn what you're supposed to learn. Like the universe is pretty set. It's pretty fixed. It's not like where this world keeps trying to push on people, like, you know, God makes mistakes, God's broken, like all this, you know, natural disasters and stuff like that. No, it's pretty perfect. It all happens for a reason. There's a reason behind everything that happens. So yeah, it's not, anything is not by mistake. Like, just look at your interactions that you have with people. Like, just really put it into perspective that every single place you go today, every single person that you encounter, that is exactly, like, what is the motherfucking chances of that? Like, if you can't see the perfection in the universe, that you're not wrapping your head around what's really going on. Because every fucking interaction, every interlude, everything is by design. It's perfectly timed, because you're always going to be where you are at that time. Always. And there's nothing, you know, everything is happening for a reason. Destiny has got you on a ride. And the whole thing about, you know, learning to find peace is enjoy the ride. You know, figure out how to enjoy the ride. Figure out how to get a benefit from it. Learn how to grow from it. So, anyways, now, 122. I'm a rambler. So, anyways, remember to love yourself, to love everyone, and have a loving day. And no matter how rough it gets, just keep it up, keep going. We're going to get to the other side. So, talk to you later. Bye.